Sakura Wars the Animation is a Japanese animation series that has been directed by Manabu Ono and been animated by Zenzigen. Zenzigen. I'm sorry. It's just every time. This isn't the first time I said this name. When I looked at the headlines, I don't know. That name, Zenzigen, every time I say that name, it reminds me of Zendaya.
Hey, it's Zendaya.
Hi. Man, seeing her as a kid with so much life and just so much energy and just so much positivity reminds me of myself when I was her age. Because I can relate. When I was her age, I was full of life, just so much full of just great motivation, just so much filled with just energy and just so much positivity. But watching Euphoria, watching her act on there also reminds her of myself. So aware of life and just so aware of just how fucked up things is. But anyway, getting off topic. The anime is co-produced by Sega and by the name of the Sakura Project. In 1941, during the Taizo era, and follows the adventures of the Imperial Combat Review, a military unit dedicated to fighting supernatural threats against Tokyo while maintaining their cover as a theater trope. With its captain Seiji Kamiyama absent, Sakura Amayama temporarily assumes command. Following an incident in Europe, Kamiyama takes a young Russian girl named Clara and leaves her in the Flower Division's care. However, Moscow Combat Review Captain Valery Kaminsky is sent to Tokyo to retrieve Clara, and the Flower Division must stop them. We finally made it, ladies and gentlemen. We finally made it. My first review of the Sakura Wars genre was the Sakura Wars video game on the PS4, and I've grown so attached to the Sakura Wars franchise to the point where I just got dived into the, to see what more material that they had. Then my second review was the Sakura Wars 1994 anime that had me on the heels a lot. Like, I was very engaged with the characters, the development cycle, and it brought me back to the early 90s of the anime. And I kind of regret now watching it sooner, because if I was a kid watching the old Sakura Wars anime, it probably would have traumatized me when it came to the demons and just the action and just the spooky elements of what the anime has given us. Then after that, I watched the Sakura Wars movie that took place 4 years after the Sakura Wars series. And that was pretty good. It was rough around the edges, but I understood where the mixed reviews came from. And then now we got this, the Sakura Wars 2020 series that takes place right after the Sakura Wars video game. We made it. We made it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to have to say, by watching this anime, I was entertained. Not entertained fully, because this anime do have some light problems, but at the same time, it was acceptable. It was acceptable when it came to the start, chronology, and the end run of the anime. Now, some problems can be addressed, and some problems will have to let this anime go downhill, because for it being the last of the Sakura Wars series, I don't know if they're going to continue this off. I really hope they do, because the way how the anime ended was, ended with a lot of unanswered questions, honestly. But at the same time, like I said, it was acceptable. That was given to me by me playing the game and me asking for more, and most of my questions was answered. The anime picks up right after the video game. Not a month later, not 2 years later. The anime picks up right after the video game. So the character development and the dialogue is lacking a lot on this anime. And I can understand why some people had a problem with that, because they have not played the game. Now, if you watch this anime and you have not played the game, that's for not playing the game. Go and play that game first, because most of the dialogue and most of the character development is in the video game. It was made by Sega, so they are known for character development cycles, like the Yakuza series and the Judgment series. So there was no hypocrisy there when it comes to Sega. Just pay attention to what the franchise is giving you and watch it and play it in a way that is ordered. So I did not have no problem with it at all. So the anime starts off with a lot of embracing action, a lot of intensity when it comes to the character cycle, when it focuses on their maturity level and how much they have developed after playing the game. Mainly Sakura and Seijiro. Now, Sakura has matured a lot. Because I remember on the game, she has been doubting herself. She had a tough personality, but she was weak in spirit. Whenever bad guys did things to test her out, she would back down. She would doubt herself, and at the same time, she would not want to fight. But on the series, she has matured a lot. Now it was warranted because you saw her maneuvering on the video game, but on the series, it wanted to show you how everything paid off with her and Seijiro. Seijiro, he had more issues on the game than anybody. He was getting bullied, he was getting pushed around, he was being disrespected, getting thrown in the mud, Win was cursing him out, Win was beating the shit out of him, you name it, he went through it. And what made me mad the most was that the fact that this was their captain, that they was treating him. I mean, you know that they was disrespecting. This was their captain. And I'm pretty sure the producers and the directors saw this, and they was aware of this, so they have fixed his character, tuned him up to the point where it's day and night now. Seijiro, he is the exact opposite of what he was in the video game. Now he's no pushover. Now he's a tough, demanding person. And at the same time, he demands respect. Not one person on this anime pushes him around or disrespects him. Every time you see Seijiro, he has a demanding presence. And they even changed his voice. His voice is more deeper now. Even his voice sounds compelling. Even his voice sounds more intense. Even more intense than most anime characters that I know that are good guys. And I like that about his character, because if you're going to make him a captain, not only that he has to look like one, acts like one, but make him sound like one. Every female on this anime respects him and falls in love with him. And that's what I like about his character. Because on the video game, I would like to think that the video game focuses on him winning the females over. Now on the series, they worship him. Speaking of worship, his character presence has become so big to the point where a lot of girls begin to have a lot of good praise for him. Even Hatsuho. I like Hatsuho's character. She's strong, she's witty, she has a very, very, very big spirit when it comes to her doing things for people. But when it came to her character development cycle on the series, I was a little iffy with it, because I noticed on the game they did a lot with her character, but they didn't give us enough for us to be aware of her characteristics when it came to her vision on other characters, such as Sakura. Now she has pushed Sakura a lot when it came to her doubting herself. There was even a fist fight when it came to her trying to make her stand up for herself when it comes to bad things, occurring to her way, letting her know that this is life. Life happens this way. Get over it. So I liked Hatsuho's character. She's a very strong-minded person. In fact, I would like to believe that if it wasn't for her character, people would have a hard time trying to convince Sakura to stand up for herself. But on the series, Hatsuho is jealous of Sakura, and I did not buy that. At one point I didn't, because Seijiro Kamiyama, he's off for a while. He's out doing missions. So by him being out for a while, he let Sakura be the main captain of the combat review while he's gone. So Hatsuho has a problem with this, and that's where the jealousy and tensions begins to happen. So at one point I didn't buy it, because I was like, this is your best friend that you push to be stronger. Now all of a sudden she's doing good and she gets the recognition that she deserves, and by her being the main character, you're jealous of this? I don't understand. You got what you wanted, it paid off, but now all of a sudden you feel a certain way. But I get it, because she wants to be close to Seijiro. Like I said, every character on this anime likes Seijiro. So this is not by jealousy of her saying that I should have done it because I'm the better person. It's because she wanted to do it because she wanted to get closer to Seijiro, so she could have a bigger love interest, so she could have, a certain dream synopsis of her and Seijiro being together. Every female in this anime loves Seijiro. So by seeing it that way, I was like, you know what? I get it. I understand, but at the same time, I wish they could have done more when it comes, to her independence, her recklessness. Because when they're in the battlefield, she gets pummeled a lot. That's because she doesn't really listen to orders. She just jumps in and she just gets her ass handed to her without listening to what people has to tell her to. And I wish they could have developed her more to the point where she got over that, instead of her being jealous. Even that bitch Summer listens to your ass now. She's not the cocky female that you see on the game where you have to be careful, you have to watch what you say to her, and then if you don't, she will literally put you down and you have to just feel her wrath. No, Summer Rae respects you on this anime now. And at the same time, she has to watch what she says to you. And I like that. Because Summer Rae, no confusion, even though Seijo is the captain, Summer Rae is the commander. So, you know, it's people can be confused with that type of method. So by her being the commander, she owns everything. But by Seijo being what he is, Summer Rae has to listen to what he has to do because he's in the battlefield. So she can't say no, she can't disrespect him, and she can't dishonor his code when it comes to him doing what he needs to do. He's risking his life out there. So I like that about Summer Rae because she has to put her own pride aside to accept the fact that he is the person that is in charge. Very good. I'm talking so much about the character development and how much they have changed over the game, but that's because it won me over a lot. Let's be focused on what the anime has laid to us. The anime is filled with action, so much pumping action, to the point where every episode is filled with action. Not one episode was lacking action. Every episode, either they're in the machines fighting demons or they're out in the field fighting demons. And I liked that in this anime because, like I said, if it's lacking the character development, it's only because of the video game has more of that. So for people, like I mentioned, it may not please a lot of people, but play the game first and then watch this and then you will see what I'm talking about. The animation is also amazing. For being made in 2020, I wasn't really expecting it to be lacking any type of animation, especially if it was made by Funimation as well. But it pulled me in a lot. I love the animation detail to it. They even add some 3D elements to the anime, especially the ending. I remember I noticed the ending, it showed some good 3D elements of Sakura, and it was showing Seijo and the other people in the combat review squad of just their 3D animation mods of themselves. That was pretty good, and I did not mind that at all. Some people may be iffy when it comes to the animation being 3D, saying it's going to be lacking a lot of good material of the old style of the anime genre, but as long as it sticks to the roots of it being in the new generation modules, I don't mind that at all. And I think Sakura Wars deserves this because by us playing the game, they want us to be more attached to the characters of the animation quality and the video game aspects of the visuality as well. I did not mind that. Now, I'm saying the anime is done right when it comes to the animation. The pacing, the character development that they have fixed with a couple of characters I had no problem with. Like I said, they could have done Hatsuho better, but it was an acceptable flaw, I would like to say. But does that mean that this anime is perfect? No, not at all. First of all, I'm gonna have to just say this. The anime has action. The anime has a lot of action. But it is lacking something. Now, some people may not have a problem with this. But if I'm going to watch an anime and it's based on certain things that makes this anime what it is, I want to see that also. And that is the females being in the play tropes, them rehearsing. Now they show this, but they only show very little of it. But that's because of the new character, Clara. I'm sorry. They both names sound similar. Clara is a new girl that Seijo shows brings to the comic review so they can look after her. So she's a new member of the squad and she pulls her weight. I like her character. She reminds me so much of Arlise Chateaubriand from the regular Sakura Wars series. They have to bring a character that replicates a lot of people. I don't mind that, but it's just they showed her just so they can get your feet wet, just so they can show you certain things that they have brought back from the original series and from the video game. I don't mind that. So when they showed her looking at the play of when the girls was performing and singing, she was astounded and so was I. I was like, man, this looks good. This looks damn good. But that was it. They didn't show any more of that. And I was disappointed because I was like, man, I wish they showed more of this. I wish they showed more of them having a good time, them just having some downtime, them singing and just acting and stuff and performing, because this is the new generation now, and I wish they pulled their heart out when it came to the animation of them rehearsing and them singing more techless songs and stuff. They show some ballet scenes and I thought that was pretty good, well warranted, but not enough for me to be satisfied. Even the animation ending and the introduction textless songs was pretty good too. It stuck to the original anime terminology. It's the same exact theme song, but just a remix of each generation of the anime that they keep releasing. But it keeps winning me over. Then let's talk about the main villain, Valerie. Valerie, he's threatening. He's a threatening enemy. There was even a time where Tokyo was in peril and it was going to be destroyed, and it took the whole camera review to push out their whole energy and even more to defeat him. So I don't mind Valerie when it comes to his presence, but when it comes to how he represents himself, there's a problem. He's just manipulative. That's it. He's just a manipulating person. He's smart, but when it comes to him acting on his own, he is reckless. More reckless than Hatsuho in a way. Because by him manipulating, his only objective is just to destroy and to rule. Destroy and to rule. And by him doing that, he has a vision of just how terrible people can be in this world. So he wants this world to be revving by demons. Does that sound familiar to you? But by doing that, he has two girls that is helping him. One is Layla, that is madly in love with Valerie. Very, very, very much so, to the point where she knows that he's using him so he can be attached to Clara. Because Clara, she harnesses a lot of energy. So he wants her to use her wits to try to get to get Clara back, because they're both sisters. So he can use her power in his own hands. He's just manipulative and that's it. But once they go against him, you see how he really is. A stupid son of a bitch. And that's all. I feel like they should have done more with the main enemy when it comes to him being on his own, him being more dangerous. And I feel like by the henchmen and by Layla not helping him after she finds out how dark and how twisted he is, that should have just broke the chains of him not holding back, and by people seeing how ruthless he is. That's the perfect way to do a villain. I noticed by watching animes and watching movies, villains have henchmen, villains have third hands, villains have certain people to throw at you just so they can see how you are on the sidelines. But when it's their turn, it's a whole different ball game. But with Valerie, after his trump cards was gone, he was weaker. All he did was just get bigger, to the point where the combat review squad was having a hard time overpowering him. It was just his size that was a problem. That was just it. But he was lacking intelligence, he was lacking chemistry, he was lacking his plot of just how to overcome the females. He was just throwing shit at him, and it was unacceptable. So they could have done more with his main enemy. And his voice, he doesn't even sound threatening and imposing. I mean, for God's sake, Senjuro Kamiyama sounds more imposing than him, and that's not a good thing. At the end of the day, this anime is good. Like I said, it's acceptable. I can understand why the mixed reviews came in, other than the fact that people say that it was lacking character development with the main characters. That's because all that development is on the video game. But like I mentioned, this anime is a must watch if you are a fan of the Sakura Wars series and you want to continue this off. And the way how the anime has ended, it ended with a lot of unanswered questions. Same thing with the video game, it ended with a lot of unanswered questions. But at the same time, I was satisfied, and by that, in the way it did, I hope it continues. I really do. But at the same time, it fixes the things I address. I'm gonna have to give Sakura Wars a B-. The anime is good. Do not let my review scores fool you. Okay, I'm very, very stingy when it comes to me giving animes and movies and games the highest rating, but that's because if I can't find anything wrong with it, I'm about to give it an acceptable score. There's even times where I gave animes in certain things like this a lower score, and I had no problem with it because it is subjective. Just because it's not, it doesn't have no problem with me, I have to be fair with the fans. I may like it, but it may be subjective. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and anime videos and such hit it your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher. You guys have a good day.